Welcome to the Fun Astrology and Merriman Market Analyst Saturday Financial Podcast. I'm Thomas Miller. This week's episode is written by MMA analyst Pouyan Zolfagharnia, who is the editor of the MMA Monthly Cycles Report Plus and is a regular contributor here to this column when Ray is away. As usual, a quote from the Wall Street Journal on Friday to get us started. The Bureau of Labor Statistics said Tuesday that the U.S. added 911,000 fewer jobs than previously thought over the 12 months ending in March. For investors, the report strengthened the case for the Fed to take a more aggressive approach to cutting rates. Interest rate futures traders have fully priced in a quarter-point rate cut next week and left the door open for the possibility of a half-point reduction, end quote. Now the week in review again from Pouyan Zolfagharnia. All three U.S. stock markets rallied to new all-time highs on Friday in expectation of rate cuts following weak job market reports during the week. This ends the bearish intermarket divergence in equity markets and was closely replicated by the Japanese Nikkei, China's Shanghai Composite Index, the Hong Kong 50, and the tech-heavy Hang Seng, all making new all-time highs. The picture was not so bright in Europe, though. The UK's FTSE was the outperformer, continuing to consolidate close to its all-time high of 3 weeks ago. The German DAX, Swiss SMI, and the Euro Stoxx 50 have failed to take out prior highs. The precious metals are shining brightly, with gold putting in a new all-time high at $37.15 on September 9th, and silver rallying into Friday and finally taking out $4,300. Bitcoin and Ethereum appear to have put in their seasonal September lows early and continue their respective rallies. With rate cuts on the horizon, the dollar is continuing to consolidate around its lows. Crude oil has remained relatively dormant, with the heavy presence of Saturn now back in Pisces, the ruling sign of oil. Even new UK sanctions or Russian oil and Israel's attack on Qatar have not been able to move crude oil. The grains look like they have formed their respective major cycle lows and are continuing their respective rallies. And that wraps up this week's in review. Now the short-term geocosmics ahead of us. A very touching section here. A news quote from the Wall Street Journal on Thursday. The incursion of Russian drones into Poland marked a dangerous new phase in Moscow's confrontation with the West, posing a test for NATO allies and forcing them to divert more capabilities to the bloc's eastern flank. Putin is testing us with this, said General Carsten Brewer, Germany's defense chief, end quote. Now, Pouyan's comments in a very difficult week to write about. He says this has been an exceptionally intense week, marked by groundbreaking developments, escalating geopolitical tensions, and the shocking, deeply saddening assassination of Charlie Kirk, the conservative activist and commentator. We are quickly approaching the eye of the storm with the sun's autumn ingress into Libra on September 22, 2025 at 1819 GMT time. This is a big geocosmic event in 2025, and it will also be a solar eclipse in opposition to the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And yet, the storm kicked off with last week's lunar eclipse on September 7th. It started last Friday as the UK's Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner resigned over a tax scandal. This resulted in a large reshuffle of the increasingly unpopular Labour cabinet after markets had closed. During the week, news broke of Israel attempting to kill the Hamas leadership by attacking yet another sovereign nation. This was followed by the news of Russian drones entering Polish airspace. Violent protests broke out in Nepal as their parliament was set on fire, resulting in the resignation of the prime minister. Then Brazil's former president was sentenced to 27 years in prison, and the British ambassador to Washington was removed over Epstein emails. This came while astrologer Adam Sommer shared a fascinating blog post entitled Eclipse Families and Dragon Hordes, which you can read on his blog website on Substack, and the link to that is in this article on MMAcycles.com. Adam links Saros eclipse cycles to historic financial upheavals, noting how prior occurrences of the current eclipse cycle align with 1989, 2007, and most significantly, August of 1971. That was when Nixon ended the gold standard. As he puts it, quote, dragons create eclipses. For the West, dragons relate to chaos and destruction. For the East, they create harmony and prosperity, and for both, they hoard gold." End quote. He highlights the charged period between a lunar and solar eclipse, which he terms the dragon hole, as a window of extraordinary intensity where global markets and geopolitics may shift dramatically. Just as the 1971 eclipse coincided with the birth of fiat currency, he suggests the current dragon hole could mark another turning point, with gold and Bitcoin leading a flight from the dollar toward new all-time highs. We are in the midst of a charged period between eclipses, a time when both markets and geopolitics can move with unusual intensity. Yet, cycles always turn, and balance always follows. So while the weeks ahead may feel stormy, it is also worth stepping back, keeping perspective, and remembering that even in turbulent times, there is room for clarity, calm, and perhaps a smile. As the Persian poet Saadi reminds us, however long the night, the dawn will break. However heavy the grief, joy will return. Thank you, Pouyan. Writing about this week is a difficult task. I'm going to the mountains. I'm going to record Monday. Kristen and I will be here on Wednesday. She'll be here Tuesday and Thursday. Might take Friday of next week off. There's times when you need to step back and recharge your soul, and this is one of those. I hope you can add that kind of solace to your life in the next few days as well. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you back on Monday. Have a peaceful, restorative weekend. Sending you much love.